may know her as the front person for San Antonio's Girl in a Coma, but she's got a new solo album entitled The Beat Is Dead, available now through Spotify, iTunes, all the usual suspects. Nina Diaz is our guest. Nina, what is up?
Hi, thanks for having me.
I've been listening to your music for so long, but you're still so young. Is it true you played your first Girl in a Coma show at 13 years old?
Yeah, that's true. I was 13. It was a month before my 14th birthday, and it was our first show was at this club called Sin 13, which is no longer in existence. But yeah, I was still a baby.
What's it like to get up on a stage and perform when you're so damn young?
Well, there was a lot of different nerves, of course, for anybody, no matter what age you are, for your first time performing in public. There's actually a picture of me floating around somewhere where I'm looking cross-eyed at the microphone because I didn't know what to do with my eyes yet, apparently. And I didn't know what Sherlocks were, that you put on your guitar strap.
Right.
And on one of the songs, it was just me, and my guitar just fell right off me. So anything that could go wrong did go wrong for my first time performing. But then after a while, you kind of get used to it, and you kind of start to enjoy it.
You're like, what are you, like 8 years or so younger than your sister?
Yeah, there's an 8-year gap between us.
So obviously, when you're playing with older kids, and therefore you're hanging out with older kids, you think that whole thing kind of forced you to grow up too quickly?
Well, to be honest, I think I kind of always had this older mentality. Not to say that I was, wiser than anyone else my own age, but even when I was little, like I think that I was just always overthinking about things and thinking too much about a subject that most people would just give one thought to and then go on. So I always had that kind of mentality. And when I got into the scene with my sisters, I mean, I just naturally have this other, like an addictive type of personality. Mm-hmm. So when I get into something, I get into it. And of course, being surrounded by a bunch of older people, I felt like I could kind of handle myself around them,
right,
and carry conversations. And the thing that did get me, though, of course, when you're hanging around 21 and up people, you start to drink. So I started drinking at a very young age, and that kind of was a different road that, of course, a lot of teenagers deal with, but mine was, I feel like, a little more intense because of the scenery I was in my teens.
Yeah, if you're hanging out with like other teens, I mean, I remember back in the day when I first started, I mean, you take like a sip of beer or something and everybody pretends like they're drunk for an hour. But
yeah, and then when you're hanging out with 21-year-olds, they're like,
they're serious.
You can get the beer and you can drink all night and get some more, so you didn't have to wait in front of a gas station for somebody to buy beer for you.
Right,
you're kind of just there.
You're trying to pay someone off.
Exactly, which I've been there before too.
So you have a really signature sound with your vocals. Was there anyone that you kind of patterned your vocal style after?
Yeah, I mean, when I first started even playing guitar, I learned by ear, and same thing with vocals. I did have choir. I was in choir when I was in elementary and a little bit in high school. So I had just your basic training. Even with guitar, Fonny just taught me power chords, and I just took it from there, learning from a bunch of punk music, because I just learned the power chords, which is your basic punk chord. Mm-hmm. And with singing, I always loved to sing too when I was little, and I was really into Morrissey, of course, when we first started Girl in a Coma, and I was also into Kitty and Silverchair, and so I think in the early stuff, when I hear my voice from the early recordings of Girl in a Coma stuff, I'm like, I sound so young. I sound like
well, shit, you were a kid.
Almost. Yeah, but at the time I thought, I'm so much older, and I hear what I sound like, and you can hear the potential of what I would sound like when I'm older. So I can understand why the girls would trust me, because it's pretty good. I have confidence in myself now to hear it and be like, oh, that was pretty good. But I was very young. And you can hear the Daniel Johns from Silverchair, like some of the ways I would end a word, it would sound like him, or definitely Morrissey. Like, some people thought I had a British accent for a while because certain words I would say would have this accent. And over the years, I've learned that I don't want to copy anyone, I don't want to be a complete imitation of someone, but I feel like, and this is the advice I give a lot of other vocalists when they're trying to see what their range is, I say, mimic the people that you're into, sing along to them, and before you know it, you're going to end up developing your own style because you'll find what's comfortable for you. And I feel like now I kind of understand what my vocal is, my vocal range. And then, of course, later on, I got into Jeff Buckley, and he kind of opened up the door for me vocally for a lot of things. And then recently, Freddie Mercury is another person that I've kind of dove into. And I feel like just mimicking them and singing along has helped me see where I can go with my vocals now.
Cool. So, Girl in a Coma, I've seen you guys all over the place. So from seeing you all over Texas, I know you all have a dedicated fan base who loves your music. So when you start putting everything together for your solo album, The Beat Is Dead, was there a concerted effort to not sound like Girl in a Coma?
I didn't really think about that. You know, I mean, I didn't think about sounding like them or not sounding like Girl in a Coma because I knew regardless it's my voice, so it's going to sound somewhat, like similar. But when I was writing the songs, I was just going through trying out these new ways of playing with sound and adding synthesizers and things that Girl in a Coma never really did.
Right.
So not that I couldn't have, that's one of the songs off of The Beat Is Dead that some people hear, and they can easily hear that being a Girl in a Coma song because it's so rock. So I think that rock, just that layout was there just because that's what I naturally have in me, whether it's with Girl in a Coma or whatever, just as my style of playing music. But then I also just started to experiment more outside of the box of what Girl in a Coma was used to doing. And I think in the end, you can really hear a big difference in it. Like people can, especially when people hear Fea, which is the Girls' Side project, and you hear my stuff, and you hear it, you can understand where the elements came from that make Girl in a Coma sound the way Girl in a Coma does. So I was just, to answer your question, when I was just starting to write the music for this album, my main focus was just to push myself and to really make myself satisfied. And in the end, if it ended up sounding like Girl in a Coma, then that would have been what it sounded like. But in the end, I think it just became something wider, something a little bit bigger. And I think it's good just to show people, look what else I can do, and really vocally as well. You can hear that my vocals are definitely up front in all the recordings because you know how it is in a band where everyone's like, my bass needs to be louder here, my drums need to be. So it's like a lot of opinions, and so it is, which isn't a bad thing, but that's what makes a band. And here, with it being my solo stuff, it was really all about me, and I was allowing myself to let it be about me and kind of enjoy it, not get cocky over it, but get that courage and that self-esteem out of it. I was
looking at the bundles you have available on Pledge Music for The Beat Is Dead, and I was looking around at all the artists that are available there, and you see a lot of people are kind of skipping all the label bullshit and crowdfunding their albums completely. Do you think that crowdfunding is the future of rock music?
Oh, definitely. I really do believe that because nowadays you don't really need, and I mean, I'm happy to be on Cosmical Records, and they're very helpful to me, and that's what I released the album off of. And they're not like a big time label because nowadays you don't need that. You don't need this big label. Really, nowadays it's just a name, on your CD, because what's really most important is your distribution, and then of course touring, and just doing as much as you can as the artist to get yourself out there. And what I love about things like Pledge Music and Kickstarter and stuff is it's from the artist directly to the fan. Like there's no middleman there. Like it's that direct connection. I mean, look at Amanda Palmer, like how much she raised just being from the artist to the fan. And I think that's a great thing. I mean, it sucks, and it's been, this industry has been going through so many different things, especially now with downloading and, back in the day, people don't buy as many CDs anymore, and that's why vinyls are making their comeback because you can't burn vinyl the way it looks, it has that classic. So nowadays, I think the artists are learning how to evolve with it, and the best way to evolve is to go back to the roots, which is connecting directly to the fans and not worrying so much about having this big label name behind you, because we can do it on our own, and that's why I really do like those kind of programs that are out there.
It kind of reminds me of the movie La Bamba, where Richie Valens, he's having to go in the car to every radio station, and like he's delivering a stack of pizzas to some 15-year-old sleepover. Do you think that most rock groups have to take on that mentality to make a living in music these days?
Oh yeah, nowadays, like not just rock groups, but any serious artist out there that is out there to make music because they love to do it and connect with their fans, because you realize you can't get anything done without them. Otherwise you just be playing alone in your room. And to have that carrying mentality rather than just trying to get famous, or trying to say, oh, I have this person behind me, I have this thing behind me, but yet you don't connect with your fans. I think that's very empty. So I think that you do, no matter what kind of music you play, you have to have that mentality of going that extra mile to make your fans feel included, make them, because they really are a part of this journey, no matter how high or how far you get in this business.
In rock music, like seemingly more so than any other genres of music, sometimes the fans will kind of punish you for quote unquote selling out. But in today's business, you kind of have to find alternate ways to get paid. Do you ever get concerned about crossing that line?
I don't know. Like, I'll tell you, like, there's just one thing that happened with Girl in a Coma where I'm not the most proud of it was we had to do a cover of Heat Wave for a JCPenney thing, which they ended up not using, I think. But that was a moment where I was like, do I want to cover Heat Wave just to get on a JCPenney internet commercial? Like, and that's still one of the songs that my friends make fun of me. They're like, play Heat Wave. And they know that I'm like, that's like one of the songs and I ended up doing it. But after I thought about it, I thought, well, there's artists out there that say, oh, we don't do it for the money. We just do it for just purely the music. But I want the money too.
Sure,
like
you
I
need
would
a place
like
to live.
Yeah, like I would like to make a living off of what I love to do, and you need to pay your rent. And sometimes, like when I did the JCPenney thing, that bulk of money that they gave us went towards paying a debt. Like there's ways that you have to think about. You have to choose your battle in a way. And now with my solo stuff, I thought about that because this sound is a little different, and it wasn't intentionally different. Like I said before, I kind of just pushed myself, and what happened is what happened, and I'm very proud of it. And there are some people out there that think that I have sold out because, like my first video, Trick Candle, I'm dancing around and having a good time. And because I'm not just spitting and playing my guitar, and hiding behind my hair, I've sold out because I have confidence in myself as a woman and a performer. I don't believe that. I think selling out is when you do something completely that hurts you and hurts others, like hurts your mentality. That to me is selling out. That hurts your courage and your strength and you as an artist. And that's something that I try to avoid. I will never cover Heat Wave or any songs like that again. Like that was a lesson learned for me because I did feel kind of funny afterwards. And now I'm like, oh, I regret that, But little things like that will happen in an artist's life. And you may fall down a couple times and go down the wrong road for a second. But the best artists realize it and they shake themselves off and get back on track. And I think that happens with a lot of people when you even just go into the wrong crowd. And then you realize, wait a minute, I'm not being true to myself. I need to get back to who I am. So it's the same thing with people in the business. Like once you realize you're not being true to yourself and you're just trying to make money for a lot of other people. And yeah, maybe you do have a lot of money, but you're empty. Then something's wrong there. You have to make sure, like, what did you find away? So that's kind of my mentality when it comes to selling out.
It's like the culture on the internet. I mean, it's so judgmental. I was reading an interview with Trent Reznor, and he was saying that a lot of musicians, because of the way that the internet will just jump right up your ass, everybody's resorted to kind of making super safe, not offensive. You want to attract the widest range of listeners. Do you ever feel intimidated by the internet culture?
No, to be honest, when the Trick Candle video first came out and people were saying their comments, and, whenever you read these things, you focus on the negative first. Like, just as humans, we focus on the negative first. Yeah, there's all these positive things, too, but my eyes went straight to, oh, you're fat. Oh, what's this? Oh, you fire publicist. Like, all these negative things. And as a person, as a woman, it hurt my feelings because I'm like, hey, I'm human, you know, like I'm having fun doing what I'm doing. Why don't they see that? But that's also, they don't understand because a lot of these people, they only find comfort in hiding behind their keyboard and hiding behind their computer and just judging people. And I'm not meaning to talk, you know, smack about them, but most of these people are really unsatisfied with their lives. And so they feel like the best way to satisfy themselves is to try to make other people feel shitty. And I am glad that that happened to me in a way because, yeah, I had my own little pity party for a couple of days and I felt very, my self-esteem got knocked around. But that just made me realize that I am human, but this shouldn't stop me from doing what I'm doing, which is pushing myself and finding this newfound clarity in who I am as a person and an artist. So I'm not intimidated by it at all. I mean, at first I was a little, because of what happened after the video came out, I was a little shaky. But now I'm like, you know what, bring it on because I know who I am now. And now I laugh at it because I'm better. I feel like at the end of the day, I can sleep. Because I know that I'm doing what I want to do. And I know that I'm trying to help those people around me as best as I can. And just being a good person. And these other people, they're just thinking of what next shitty thing to say. And that's not a way to live, you know, and I just don't want to waste my life thinking about those things.
Well, getting back to the album, you totally composed this album.
Mm-hmm.
How do you go about composing a song, like from top to bottom?
Well, I've been doing that actually since I was 13.
Oh, so you've always been doing it this way.
Yeah. Because the thing, like how Girl in a Coma would work is, which is even more outrageous to me that the girls trusted me at this young age, is I would write the song itself and write the lyrics, and then the girls would write their parts. You know, Fonny would write her drums, and then Jenna would write her bass, and then we just jam it out until, you know, of course, opinions were said, and we made it what it became in the end. So I've been writing full from top to bottom since I was 13, but now this is the first time where I was clearly writing everything. You know, like with Girl in a Coma, I'd write the meat of the song, and then we'd work together. And that's actually what brought about the solo stuff, was I wrote, the first song that I worked on was Trick Candle, which is why I wanted it to be the first music video, because it's kind of what brought about this whole solo thing. And when I wrote Trick Candle, I wrote the bass, I wrote the drums, I wrote the guitar, I wrote everything. And then I showed it to the girls, and we jammed it out. But it turned into a Girl in a Coma song, and then I was telling them what to play, and that didn't feel right. You know, that's not what Girl in a Coma is about. So we had the conversations, and then came time for me to say it's time for me to do the solo album, because I just felt it in me that something wanted to just take over, and I wanted to allow myself to do that and not hold myself back just because that's not the way we work, you know. So when it came time where I got the okay and everyone was all right, I had to start working on the rest of it. It came very naturally to me because I think it was always waiting. It was always ready to kind of just take over. And it helped push me as a writer to, because I'm not the best drummer, I'm not the best bass player, but I write down what I feel. And so I just let my brain and stuff take it away. And even if I just had a piece, you know, I'd walk away from it for a little while and come back to it and finish it. And even in the studio, I had it all drawn out on GarageBand because that's what I use, and that's what I'll continue to use because it's the easiest thing to use when you're writing something rather than all these plugins and everything.
Yeah.
Because I don't have the patience for that either. But I went into the studio with my GarageBand, and I worked with some amazing musicians in there. I worked with David Garza, who's an Austin-based musician, and this guy named Pato, who's a drummer who drums for Jimena, who's this artist from Mexico. And I worked with the producer named Manny Calderon, who actually engineered on a couple Girl in a Coma albums. So that was all in the studio. There was not a lot of opinions everywhere. Like, I was the leader in there. And they'd suggest little things, and we'd, you know, work with little things and kind of mess with stuff and try new things out. But in the end, it was completely what I wanted. And at first, it felt different because I'm the type of person to try to make everyone else feel happy and comfortable. That this was the first time where it's like you're allowed to say exactly what you want. So I felt a lot of strength in the end of it. So it wasn't too hard to kind of fit into that mold of I actually like it, you know.
Yeah.
I like I like to be able to direct every little inch of it, which can make me a good and bad person to work with sometimes. You know, it just depends on the situation.
So now you're going to do a bit of touring with it. How is the vibe different taking the stage with your band as opposed to Girl in a Coma?
In the beginning, because after the studio, I found my musicians, and they're all San Antonio-based musicians, and they're great musicians. And because it's Nina Diaz and it's my solo stuff, I can change the band members if I need to. So that's different. You know, with Girl in a Coma, we're together for life, you know, whether we like it or not.
Right.
Like, we work through things, like, we're family, like, we're going to be together till the very end, you know. And with this, there were some situations with some members I had for a moment where it just wasn't clicking, and then I told myself, hey, you don't have to have them in there. And it's like, I don't have to have you in here. You know, it's like a good realization. So being a boss is something new to learn, and letting people go. And, you know, like, that was all a learning experience in itself. And then when it comes to hitting the stage, it was a bit of an adjustment because I'm used to Jen on that side. Fonny's back there on drums, and there I am on my side. And here I have Travis, who's my guitar player, and then I have another bass player. And, you know, the keyboard player usually just stays in their one area. But the first time when Travis started to walk around, which is great because the boys, they're getting into the music. They're making it their own. You know, I told them too when I was showing them the parts. I'm like, yeah, here are the parts. But if you want to change little things here and there to put your twist on it, I'm totally open to it, you know, because I want them to have fun while they're doing it and not be robotic, you know. And then they started to get into it, and they started walking around, and I actually tripped on Travis because I wasn't used to him being there. But so I learned to adjust and feel their energy. And because I come from a band, and yeah, I can revolve the musicians, and, you know, I'm not like a dictator, you know, like, I like to, because I come from a band, I want it to feel like a band as well. And as much as I can help it, I try to include the boys in things because they're sacrificing a lot for me too, you know, and I keep open communication. We try to talk through things, you know, I'm not just right away if I'm unhappy, I'm like, you're out of here. Like, no, like, we're going to talk about things. And they feel just as much a part of this as I have been in it. So I can't help but keep that band mentality in this, even though I am a solo artist. And on stage, we've just learned to work with each other's energy. So I think we got it down now. Like, it's a great show. Like, it's pretty energetic. Like, all the boys put their own spin on things. And of course, me, like, really getting into it.
And if you want to see that badass show, you can go see Nina Diaz tonight in Laredo, Texas at the Cold Brew, February 3rd in McAllen at Yerberia Cultura. Did I say that right? Yerberia,
I think so.
That's right. It's the herb store.
The herb store.
And you can see her in Corpus Christi, Texas on February 4th at the House of Rock. Nina, thank you so much for being on the show.
Of course. Thank you for having me. Anytime. Just give me a call.
The lovely and talented Nina Diaz, everybody. She is a peach. And to my northern listeners, that's a southern term to say she's a sweetheart. We had played a little bit of phone tag, but we finally got it nailed down, and I thought she was badass. Check out Girl in a Coma. They are badass. Check out Fea. That's the existing members of Girl in a Coma without Nina Diaz. I've seen them here in Houston, and they're pretty badass as well. So check them out. And most of all, check out Nina Diaz's new record, The Beat Is Dead. You can get it on iTunes, Amazon. You can stream it on Spotify. Go to NinaDiazMusic.com. Go to Facebook. Search her on Facebook. I think it's /Nina Diaz Music. And you can get tour dates. You can get all that shit. If you're listening to this podcast right now, go look in the comments or whatever the fuck. We're going to have links somewhere. However you get it, go get that sumbitch. It's going to be a good fun time.